What's up, guys? It's your boy Zowoki back out with another crime talk type video today. And today we're going to be talking about the unfortunate event that took place not too long ago of the three tree fans that were pretty much found deceased in their friend's backyard. This man apparently stated he didn't know that his best friends were back there for almost 2 days. I think it was 2 days. That's ridiculous. You cannot tell me this. I've listened and watched it for almost the past 2 hours. And I'm like, I heard about it once and everybody wanted me to look into it and stuff like that, which a lot of this is not making sense whatsoever. Apparently the best friend moved out of his house. He had a game with the football NFL Chiefs fans, or the Chiefs game, where he had all his friends come over, and these three were found deceased behind the house after one of the fiancés came to look for her spouse and found the other two as well as her fiancé. So we're going to take a closer look at this and how things don't make sense. We're still waiting for autopsy reports to come back, toxicology to come back. They say it could take a little bit more time than usual because things are backed up at the laboratories, and it's just like these families deserve answers. You cannot tell me that they were frozen to death just like that because it was like 34 to 36 degrees. Things start freezing. I mean, they start to get a little cold around that time, but things don't freeze until like 32 degrees. Water's freezing point is 32 degrees. So I'm just throwing that out there. So with that being said, what I want you guys to do is grab a chair, get comfortable, because we want to dive into this and figure out some answers, and hopefully maybe we'll see some solution for these families to hopefully somewhat get closure. So with that being said, subscribe right now by hitting that white bar icon down at the bottom right for more crime content. Hit the bell icon next to it so I do post videos like this one. You guys will get that little ring notification that I've posted that video, and you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, I thank you guys so very much for the continued love and support that you guys have been showing on this channel every single day. I can't thank you guys enough, and keep doing what you guys are doing, and we'll continue to keep growing together. Now, I've been watching, like I said before, about 2 to 3 hours more in depth on this case. Apparently police don't suspect foul play at all, but you cannot tell me three stacked guys. I mean, these guys did not look, I mean, I'll pop it up here for you guys. I mean, these guys they're big guys. I would not want to mess with these guys. I mean, I'm a bigger guy too, but I would still not want to mess with these three guys because they look like they mean business. So you cannot tell me that they didn't just drink and then pass out and fall asleep outside. Okay. I call BS. And you look down below, you look in all the comments, I'm looking at, yeah, this looks like foul play. This case is just completely odd. Things are not matching up. The story of the other best friend that housed the game and the party, he's making some weird accusations, and I'm calling something happened. I'm hoping it's not drug related, which I've heard from the families. Their family members don't do drugs. So I mean, I don't want to put anything in anybody's mouth or mess up the case or whatever the hell you and start theories and random rumors when I'm not wanting to do that. I would like to find, or I wouldn't say help, but I'd like to find out the answers too. Like, what took these gentlemen out? So with that being said, we're going to be watching also Michelle After Dark. We watched her quite a bit before. She's got some recaps on this, but even looking at some of the newscastings and stuff like that, it's just something's going on with this best friend at his house. He states he didn't know that his best friends were gone or that they were there. He thought he pretty much got drunk, passed out, slept on the couch, and didn't recognize his buddies outside the back of his yard for 2 days. This is not the wilderness. This is not in the woods, the mountains, the whatever have you, where you can't find them. They're in your backyard. I'm sorry, but every single day I wake up, I look around my house, I drink coffee, look out the front, look out the back, look out, because I'm always checking to see if anything happened to my house, what vice versa, my yard, and so forth, or see something else. I mean, one day I found a stray dog, unfortunately passed away in my yard. But it didn't take very long. I woke up that morning and found him in the back. So I call BS on that. So with that being said, let's get into Michelle After Dark. Go check her channel out. I definitely enjoy her channel. She's from the UK, but definitely does a very good job and detail analysis of her videos. I would like to watch and react to it with you guys as well. So let's take a look.
The 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans who were found dead in their friend's backyard on January the 9th. Have you heard of this case? I was actually quite surprised when I did my live stream on this over on Michelle Walks a couple of days ago. I was surprised how many people hadn't heard of it because it's completely blown up now. Like, everybody's talking about it. But this is 3 men.
It's funny that things don't or blow up when they don't make sense.
Ricky Johnson, 38, David Harrington, 37, and Clayton McGeeney, 36, who were found...
It's pretty much my age. I'm 35, so that's scary to think about.
...dead on January the 9th outside Jordan Willis's home. Jordan Willis is a renowned HIV scientist, got awards, right? He's a clever guy, works from home, living in a nice suburb of Kansas City. On January the 7th, they're all Kansas City Chiefs fans. They were playing the LA Chargers and they won. And about 9 p.m, according to Jordan Willis's attorney, John Pisano, I'm going to talk more about him in a minute.
Can't they do a lie detector test? I'm just saying. I know it can't be used in court of law. It can help, but it can't be like substantial evidence for the cases. But it can lead you in the right direction for questioning and so forth. So hook the best friend up to a lie detector. See what's going on up there with his heartbeats and his mind and stuff like that. See if he's freaking out, whatever have you. Because it's kind of odd that this man moves out of his house. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate that these men were lost behind the house, but you don't just move. You would want to find answers. Apparently, he's been fully cooperating and so forth, which we've heard before. And we find out later on that the person's the one that caused it. So the biggest thing is going to be the toxicology, the autopsies when we find them finally, hopefully come back. They said they could take up to a month, if not longer. It's just ridiculous. So let's continue.
Yeah. They went round to Jordan's place, so there would have been Jordan, Ricky, David, Clayton, and a 5th man who hasn't been named as of yet.
Why?
The name's out there, but I'm not going to name him because it might not be the right name. The issue is, this game happened on January the 7th. Over the next 2 days, Ricky, David, and Clayton's families were trying hard to get in touch with them because they hadn't come home. Where were they? And it was only on the evening of January the 9th that it was Clayton McGeeney's fiancée who actually broke in to Jordan Willis's house. And she found one of the 3, we don't know which of the 3, dead on the porch. Some people are saying that he was in a chair, like dead in a chair. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not. And then the other 2 were in the yard. So it's not a big yard. I mean, it's not tiny, but it's not...
So you're telling me this window, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7.5 axes of looking out your backyard. You have a back door and a back screen door, patio door, and you can't see 3 of your buddies back there? Or the neighbor on this side, you can't tell me they couldn't see something. I'm not blaming the neighbors, but I'm just saying. I mean, he definitely has some taller fences, but he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 big windows, and then the door itself right here. I'm calling BS, man. These are bigger than my windows. I mean, I got some big bay windows on my dining room area, but I'm gonna see stuff. And you're telling me he did not look outside once? You can't tell me he didn't have a grill in the back there. He didn't have some chairs and seats and stuff like that, because probably some of them did smoke. I mean, I'm not trying to say that they were smokers, but you don't normally smoke in the house anymore. You go outside and so forth. So I'm kind of calling some bull crap here.
A big yard. There had been snowfall, but it wasn't enough snow to like completely bury them.
So they
might
could
have been
see
a
them.
covering of snow that would have kind of disguised those 2. But on the porch, I don't think that man would have been covered unless
Look
there
at
was
these
like a
things.
blizzard, like blowing in the right direction. I don't think that man would have been covered in snow. So the bizarro thing is that Jordan was allegedly at home the whole time because he works from home. He has 2 dogs. However, the dogs weren't there that day. Have we heard that before?
You can't tell me that, okay, the dogs weren't that day. You let your dogs out in the back like I do. Let them do their business, pee, poop, whatever have you. So it's getting a lot more familiar with lies. So let me know what you think in the comments while we're watching this. And at the end, what do you think? Best friend had to do something with it? Not something to do with it? What do you guys think?
Anybody? The dogs weren't there that day. Apparently, the dogs were like on vacation with Jordan's dad.
So
I don't
then
know.
find
Why,
out from
if
John's
Jordan was
dad.
home, why were the dogs staying with
Exactly.
Jordan's dad? Therefore, Jordan had no reason to go out the front to take them for a walk, and he'd no reason to go out the back to let them out. Indeed, there's a doggy door. So if the dogs were home, they can presumably just come and go as they please. Again, why were the dogs at Granddaddy's house? Why? So the attorney for Jordan Willis has made a bunch of contradictory statements, right? He was on News Nation, maybe like 4 or 5 days ago now, and said he doesn't know what time they left, he doesn't know what door they went out of, and he doesn't know anything. And then with Ashley Banfield, he said he went to the door and let them out, and they went out the front door, but they might have come back. This attorney,
why would you go to the back,
not
though?
a great look, seriously. But he's been all over the media. So I'm going to read this from USA Today. The attorney for a Missouri man questioned by police when the bodies of his 3 friends were found outside his home in his backyard after they gathered to watch a football game. At first, it was a watch party and they were all at Jordan's house the whole day because the game started at like something past 3 in the PM Central Time. But then it was, oh no, they only went to Jordan's at 9, so it was like an after party. And the 5th man, who left earlier than the others, said that Jordan and the 3 guys who wound up dead were watching Jeopardy when he left. So it wasn't too much of an after party, was it? They were all sat there watching Jeopardy. Okay. John Picerno, the attorney, had said that they were playing video games. So Jeopardy's on the TV, they're playing video games, they're chilling out. Well, what on earth were they smoking, is all I can say. So, this is what John Picerno said to USA Today on Tuesday, so 2 days ago. Quote, he had no knowledge they remained in his backyard or that they needed medical attention. Had he known, he certainly would have called for help. Then it goes on to say, according to Picerno, the last time his client saw his friends...
They said, not to interrupt too, but they said that this man slept for 50 hours. I mean, my fiance can sleep pretty hard, and I think the longest she slept was like 22 hours once, and then she was like deathly ill with like COVID. But for 50 hours, this man said he was sleeping? What did he take? Did he take some type of narcotic? Some type of... Apparently, some people have stated fentanyl as a problem in this area. So I would hate to see something, the D word, but we can't put anything past until toxicology and autopsy reports come back. So, because then we'll find out what was in the stomach, what happened to the heart, liver, lungs, and so forth, and brain. So hopefully nothing was foul play, but 3 guys found gone? It doesn't make sense still.
2 of them who he had been friends with for nearly 2 decades, and the other one for several years, was when they left his house before he went to bed. Now, he told Ashley Banfield that he crashed on the couch. Quote, he doesn't know the timing or the manner of their deaths, nor does he know how or when they exited his house. End quote. David Harrington's mother, Jennifer Marquez, said her son went to the home to watch the Kansas City Chiefs game. Or did they go after? Who knows? And she said Jordan later told others that his friends froze to death.
See, then it says 29 degrees, but then I've heard from other newscastings that it was above 32 degrees, because if it was below 20 or 32, definitely freezing point. But then other newscastings are saying 32 or 34 to 36. It's like you can't figure out, like, I wonder what the actual temperature, if I looked it up. Temperature of Kansas City game night. See, this one says it was 34 degrees. 34 with a high of 3 miles an hour wind. Humidity was 99%, slightly dry. I mean, freezing temps is 32. I mean, a hard freeze is 28, but things take longer at 32, obviously. But, I mean, I'm curious. So looking at a few things I'm looking at here for exposed skin for a body to possibly be in hypothermia, which can take 10 minutes, but at a negative of 30 degrees. Negative 30 degrees. Now, when it comes to if a body decides to start getting colder, where it doesn't, I mean, your body's already, your core is what is important to keep hot. So if it starts getting colder, they said below 78 degrees, death can usually occur due to irregular heartbeats, respiratory arrest. However, some patients have been known to survive with a body temperature of 56 degrees, which is ridiculously like out of the norm. But it says here it can take as little as 5 minutes for a temperature of negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 45 in Celsius, who are not dressed properly. These guys probably had the jackets, the thick layer of jerseys on, and probably had hats and so forth. But in Kansas City, it was 34 degrees that day. For me, I would probably be wearing just something, a sweatshirt, whatever have you. I'm in Minnesota. We can pretty much bear the cold pretty well. But again, negative 34 degree or negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit for somebody to get hypothermia and death within 10 minutes. And then the other one states that it would take, like, you can't freeze. like looking at this one, freezing is more common when a person is anxious, irritated, or simply having an off day. Well, I don't know what that means. But like everything says negative 34 degrees. I mean, if you pass out and fall asleep, I wonder. So a person can die from obviously hypothermia in as little as up to an hour or under an hour, but the temperatures have to be below 0. It is possible to freeze to death in your sleep, but if you are exposed to extremely cold temperatures for a long, prolonged time of 0 degrees or less. Negative. This can happen if you're sleeping outside or in an unheated room. Your body is unable to generate enough heat to keep you warm. That's 0, not 32 degrees. So it's starting to sound more and more not right, like they were deceased before they hit the ground.
Now, it was freezing, but it was only just freezing. And how can you freeze to death? 3 grown men, how can you freeze to death? Right,
I'm telling you, I'm a beefy guy, okay? They look like beefy guys too. We got a lot of thick thermal on us, okay? We're not just gonna go freeze to death like that, like a twig. It's gonna take time to make this man thickness get frozen. So I'm another calling BS on that too.
Not going to sit there for hours on end, hours that it takes you to develop hypothermia and die just voluntarily, are you? Come on. There's people who are saying that the guy's phones and wallets were inside. Other information is that they had the phones on them. Regardless, if their phones and wallets and coats and whatever were inside,
But
then
they left.
that would mean that they hadn't meant to leave.
Yeah.
They might have gone in the backyard for some other reason. Maybe they felt unwell. Maybe they wanted some fresh air. Maybe they smoked. They're not just going to sit there and freeze to death. If you go out for a smoke, you're 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. You're not going to die of hypothermia in 10 minutes. A healthy grown man, you're not going to freeze to death in 10 minutes, even if you do not have
They look like healthier, thick men.
If you couldn't get back in the house for whatever reason, you'd just go home or go and sit in your car. Or were there keys inside as well? Well, wouldn't you just break a window? Clayton McGeeney's girlfriend was able to break in. Well, these guys would be able to break in to save themselves.
Well, no kidding.
Now, Ricky Johnson's dad has been allegedly fuming, and I'm reading this from the New York Post. The family of one of the 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans found dead under mysterious circumstances, Ricky Johnson Sr., made explosive, unfounded allegations, even as cops make clear they are not treating the deaths as suspicious, and have stressed that it is not yet clear whether drink or drugs were involved. Ricky Johnson Sr. told Fox News Digital that his 38-year-old son was not irresponsible and would not have gone outside in the snow without a coat to freeze to death, along with his friends David Harrington and Clayton McGeeney. Quote, I believe he drugged them, dragged them outside, and waited 2 days to call the police. Unquote. John Paserno, the attorney, said that claim is ridiculous. But Ricky Johnson Sr. went on to say, quote, he may have done some drugs and stuff in the past. I do not believe all 3 of them did drugs and then fell over dead.
They don't look like they do.
Backyard. I'm not going to say that during a game he didn't have some drinks, but he wasn't irresponsible. He was going to go outside and freeze to death. And he claims that Ricky's coat, he did have a coat, was inside. So it leads me to believe that these guys hadn't left.
He said,
they left the house meaning to go straight back in. Ricky Johnson's mother, Norma Chester, shared the same theory, while conceding it was just her thinking rather than based on specific evidence. Quote, seriously, these were responsible men. How do they go in the backyard and freeze to death? All 3 of them. Something that comes to my mind, this guy, Willis, wants to brag about how smart he is. He's a scientist. My thoughts are that he concocted something and gave it to all 3 men. So the Kansas City PD said foul play is not suspected, but we're still awaiting autopsy and toxicology reports. Quoting Captain Jack Pacina to Fox News Digital, he said, this case is 100% not being investigated as a homicide. John Paserno went on to say that there was no animosity, no bad feeling between Jordan and his...
Shouldn't they be like looking at drinks, looking at cabinets, looking at the basement, looking at anything? I mean, if Chris Watts, a person that would never have been suspected as a murderer, and you're telling me this man is a scientist, respected scientist, don't get me wrong, not saying any allegations that he is the one that did it quite yet, because we don't know, because they haven't interrogated the man. They just literally asked him a question, did you do it? He said no. He came up with some weird lies, but we can't say it for 100% certainty yet on him, but a lot of this is pointing towards him. But why are they not asking him questions, more questions, investigating his house? Just because, okay, you haven't got the toxicology back or anything like that, do your job and figure it out. Yeah, okay, there may be other murders happening as well, but you can't tell me that you can't look at this one and look at drinks, look at the smell of the room or cleanup, or, I mean,
his friends,
makes no
they
sense.
all got on well. You know, people can speculate that Jordan did something bad, but there's no evidence of it. John Paserno said,
be motive.
I understand that people are hurting, but that's no excuse to throw baseless accusations at Jordan. John Paserno told the Independent newspaper, quote, Jordan had absolutely nothing to do with these deaths. He does not know the timing or the manner of their deaths, nor does he know how or when they exited his house. He had no knowledge that they remained in his backyard or that they needed medical
You can't tell me
attention.
you didn't see them.
Paserno also said, and this cannot possibly be true, that Jordan Willis was unaware that the guy's loved ones had been trying to locate them. The two cars that the guys had arrived in were not on the driveway, they were down the street, and he didn't know that anybody was looking for them. Only saw the Facebook Messenger posts after the police had arrived just before 10 p.m. on January.
So you're telling me for 2 days you don't check your phone? I mean, I'm checking mine every 5 minutes. I mean, I got a social media problem, but I also have a YouTube channel, a Twitch channel, and trying to keep up with all that. But you can't tell me he's not looking at stats of the game or looking at weather or looking at or talking to his family or whatever, and he didn't see those.
Now, the friends and family of the guys have said that he was reading messages, text messages.
Because you can see the
People
bubble.
calling. And Paserno said that, quote, 2 people came to his house. However, he did not hear them as he sleeps with earbuds and a loud fan. He said that Jordan slept most of Monday, so he got earbuds in all day with a loud fan on in the middle of winter. Why'd you sleep with a loud fan on in the middle of winter?
I mean, my son does.
Come on now.
He likes a fan.
No, I don't believe it. I eagerly await the autopsy results and the toxicology. You know, there's got to be narcotics involved, whether they knew they were taking them or whether they were taking another drug and it was laced maybe with fentanyl or hallucinogenic drugs. You know, something that would knock them out, incapacitate them, or make them unaware that they were freezing to death. And if Jordan slept most of Monday and then was completely unaware on Tuesday that anybody was looking for these guys, the only explanation for that, apart from a complete flat-out lie, is that he was under the same influence, but he didn't die. And, you know, fentanyl, a relatively small amount of fentanyl will kill you. It absolutely will.
With that being said, guys, please let me know in the comments another case that completely goes weirdly wrong, different, and kind of crazy. I definitely am going to be shocked if the toxicology comes back and nothing is in there. I am definitely going to be shocked because something did go wrong, did go weary. So comment down below, hit the like button for the justice of these men, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Keep it real, keep it safe, and as always, keep nerding on, and we'll see you guys next time.